All right, that's my new beat. I make beats. I was going to save that for. I had an interview on my YouTube channel, Long Brain TV today, but a few hours ago they canceled. That's good. Wednesday gave me in advance, gave me plenty of time in advance. I respect that, and we might do it on Monday or Tuesday. But I think maybe by then I'll make a new beat. Yeah. So, you got the experience, allow that. It's not the whole song. Well, that's a good intro. True. My co hosts are not here, but I think I could power on before they get the link or get their emails or check their emails. Yeah, I did it one time by myself. I mean, I had a bad morning, but you know what? I was listening to some stuff that picked me right up, and I had a 5 hour energy shot, and I'm having a great afternoon. I'm doing this show. It's amazing. And I think I'll look at the standings and see where baseball is right now. And maybe a little later, I'll look at the Bleacher Report and talk about playoffs that are happening because you're still in hockey and basketball and things are heating up. And go over that a little bit, and then look at football. And maybe somebody will be here by then. I hope so. All right, let's share the screen. They say I can't do it by myself. Sometimes you got to roll along. Oh, I don't have great rants like Errol. Nobody does. His rants are freaking legendary. He's amazing. You should just put them in a collaboration of the rants, or just put them out as individual reels. Same brilliance. It's amazing. All right, Rudderman is here. All right. All right, let me drop that and just let him know. Hello.
Kenny, how are you, sir?
Yeah, you missed my intro song. I make beats now. I do.
Beats the food?
No, beats like I have a beat maker like hip hop beats.
Oh. Apologize for that. I'm actually on a train right now headed to San Francisco. I'm covering the Giants today.
All right, dude.
Giants and Angels.
We'll
and
train noise as long as it's not too interruptive. It's fine.
It should not be, but is the sound? Is it interruptive?
A little, but it's fine now. You're golden. You're crystal. And I didn't give everybody all of it. I cut it off. It's 3.5 minutes. I'm like, give them a little taste, 3 minutes. And I had an interview that canceled. I was going to use that on my channel as an intro. I think by the time we repost, and they had a family emergency. The band I was interviewing, that the two brothers were required because the singer and drummer, and they are related. They had a family emergency. And I was like, all right, man. At least they gave me a heads up. I gave them the link when I woke up at 7:50. And by 9, they're like, yeah, we can't do it, man. We're going to have to reconvene for the week. So I may have to pack the computer and stream on vacation. I'll be on your time level. So if I do a sports show, we'll be in the same time zone. Let's go.
Right.
And if they go, let's do it Tuesday evening, I'll be, yeah. Stay tuned because, fellas, I may have something going on and I'm 3 hours behind you. So it may be possible. Then to come up and may not be possible. I was really looking forward to it. Or I get 2 interviews in the same month because I have Urban Waste next month. Hopefully they won't cancel. Josh, their singer, who I've been corresponding with, had a broken leg for a while, but he's healed up. I saw him. They went to Waste Fest, and he was there. So therefore, they're back, and he's back. So they can sit down, and they're touring Europe in August, so that's out. So I said, then let's go July, and they agreed to that. So, and I'm not just saying that with Josh, it's the whole band. But Yankees been killing it, right?
Yankees are killing it, and
you said, oh, they're not going to have a great season. They're going to do terrible.
I didn't think so, but they are.
And you were 100% so wrong. In fact, outside of the Phillies, they're the top in the American and close to being as good as the Phillies, which are the top in all baseball.
I think they actually might be better than the Phillies right now. What's the standings right now?
I will show you a minute. As you pulled up, I was getting to it. I was going to press it even if I was standing there alone. I was going to go over it. So I was getting to it. MLB standings. Yeah, that's right. And here we are. Yankees 50-23, 685. Ooh, that's a high percentage. Orioles not that far behind them at 657, only 2.5 back. Orioles could, if the Yankees fall off their mark, Orioles could roll in and take it. Possibility. So they could be wild card potential if if the Yankees don't fall off their mark. Yankees keep
And
on rolling, Orioles could be potential.
and the American League, I mean, at least the races for who's getting in the playoffs or not. This is the time of year, and I remember I was on this show close to a year ago. I was on this show June 25th last year going to a Giants game, and I said that this is the time, and I'll say the same thing that I said then. This is the time of year where, it gets established who the contenders
Steven,
are and who's not.
the West is terrible. Last time the Central was bad. Central is better compared to the West in the American League.
American League Central is actually really good, and so
Yeah.
first of all,
West,
anyway,
last year's winners, I mean, the Rangers are not even at a winning record at all. They suck. They're the reigning champion, and they can't even play 500.
Well, as going back to what I was saying there, this is the time of year where you kind of figure out who the contenders are and who's not. This might take a little while this year because if you look at the National League, like all but three teams right now, all but three teams in the National League right now are within 3 games of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is June. It's June 16th,
but
I mean, this is.
Giants
but no, let's talk about. I want to start with the Yankees. The Yankees, they're a team that they're legit. They've been playing, I hate to admit it, but they're legit. They've got the one thing they have this year compared to when they got off to a great start 2 years ago, back in 2022.
Steven, do you realize the Giants are worse than the Mets? Oh
yes,
my God.
well,
that's bad. That's
the Yankees,
really bad. Same place. What percentage are worse than the Mets? Really?
They are, but the Yankees. The Yankees have pitching this year, which they did not have 2 years ago. And if Garrett Cole can come back and
Giants
pitch well, that will
out of their butts if they want to be even contender for a wild card. They better get their heads out of their butts and get hustling because they are well behind their 4th. They better hope that the Diamondbacks and the Padres fall off course because then they can maybe grab a wild card. Maybe. Possibly if they get their heads out of their butts or their season is freaking over.
Well, let's start with
the second half. If they shape up, they might be able to make the playoffs. Maybe. Same thing with the Mets, but it don't seem like the Mets are going to load up. They had a good April, and then the rest went downhill.
Let's start with the Yankees. If as I said, when I came on your show last year at this time, I said this is the time of year where the contenders are established. I'll say the same thing this time. With the Yankees, I got to admit they played really great. And
Gardeners are great. Gardeners are 44-24. That's a great thing. 6 Guardians. That's awesome.
Well, let's start with the American League East. Yankees have had, Judge and Soto have been great. They've had tremendous pitching.
22-10 at home, 28-13 on the road. That's a good march for road and home. Yes, great on the road. Yeah. So they're as vicious as they are at home on the road. Totally. Even more wins on the road, so even more vicious on the road. They savage. I love it.
Well, the Yankees, they've had the one thing they have this year, which they did not have when they got off to a great start in 2022, is they have great pitching. And if Garrett Cole can pitch well when he comes back, then they're definitely going to be a dangerous team to be reckoned with. The one thing with the Yankees is their vulnerability is that if they're gonna really keep doing this thing, they're really gonna need both Judge and Soto to stay healthy. But right now they
didn't have a captain for a while after Jeter retired.
That's correct.
So they were walking away. Once you get captain, all the great stuff happens to them.
I don't know if that has anything to do because they named him captain last year and they didn't really go anywhere last year. But this year they're doing well.
But once you get the captain, that's great things start to happen, and it's already happening. Yes. great season. Who knows? They could all be wearing rings at some point next year. We don't know. It could happen. It
Could be. I mean, the thing is with the Yankees, they do have a more veteran core. I think they are. I don't think they're going to be as good next year, but we're not talking about next year. But this year,
Yeah, we're not. Forget
they're
dynasty. The dynasty of the Yankees ended with tour. You win once, maybe 3 years later, you win again. We'll take it. That's good enough for us now. Dynasties don't exist anymore in the Yankee world. Joe Torre was the last one that we're ever going to see in our lifetime. So I'm okay with them winning once and then 3-4 years later winning again. I'll take it. It's good.
The Giants had a semi-dynasty that I hesitate to call dynasty for one reason and one reason alone, which is in the middle of the dynasty, or the so-called dynasty, they had a losing season, finishing under 500 in 2013. But anyway, the Yankees are just incredibly good. Baltimore's right behind them. That division race is going to be a dogfight.
They could be in a wild card, Baltimore, or it's a flat-out fight for first place down to the end. That'd be great too. The Yankees got it by one game in the playoff start.
Last several years, really for the longest time, the American League Central has been one of the weakest divisions in baseball. Right now, it's actually gearing up to be a very powerful division. You got a really good Twins team.
Kind of like
you've got 4 teams in the American League.
I want to use the analogy that for the longest time, the NFC East was great, and then it bottomed out, Trashville, and the trash traveled down to like other parts of the NFC in football. And I think like the NFC South now is freaking trash. So it leads from one section to the other, just like the West sucks this year. Well, the Central, the suckiness traveled down from the Central, just like it trickled down from the NFC East down to other levels in the NFC for that football. And they're not so trash anymore. They had it for a while, and it just trickles around, right?
It does, but with the American League, with the American League Central, that has been one of the weaker divisions in baseball for some time, and right now they could become a very powerful division in the next few years. I mean, Minnesota's pretty good, obviously.
What's weak in the National? What's the
Cleveland? And you got to applaud Cleveland. Cleveland had a run in the late 2010s, but they kept their farm system.
Cleveland, the NL Central is the garbage space. The West, not that far behind, but Central, it's somewhat worse. The Brewers, the leaders of that, the only one with a winning record, 586. Oh, so they're 41-29. And that's your winner, 34-35, almost 500, not a winning record. And that's your second place. So that's your potential wild card. And they suck. So that's no wild card there. The wild card will just go somewhere else and they'll just bottom out and not even be in the playoffs. It'll suck to be them.
The National League. Okay, let's go back to the American League Central for a minute. Let's try and slow things down a little bit here.
All right. Hold on. I'm going to wonder where my other co-hosts are. They're Twitter people, so where the hell are they? I need a link. I can't connect to my account. I'm going to tell them follow the new private one because I tried it, and they said, we blocked it because we thought it was an invalid entrance. Trying to enter my password. Great, Elon. And a guy got so pissed. I'm not pissed anymore that I screamed, I want to murder Elon Musk because they made it so hard. Then I'm like, screw this.
Well, let's not actually do that. But anyway.
No, I just want to for a minute, right? And I have nobody that signed up. And he goes, well, send me the code. And I'm like, I can't. I sent you the message. Follow that account or look in your email or don't show up. Yeah, that's about it, man. Somehow I disconnected from the main account when I added the new account to my freaking YouTube last night, and I don't know how. I was crossing over into another account. Yeah.
All right. So let's start with the American League East, Kenny. So let's start with the Yankees. I came on the show. close to a year ago on June 25th of last year, just as I am today, going to a Giants game to cover it. And I said this is the time of the year where your contenders are established.
Red Robot.
This year it's good. This year,
Robot.
but they are legit. They're the one different. They got up to a great start 2 years ago, but one of the big differences between this year and 2022 is that they have great pitching this year. And 2 years ago they didn't have pitching. This year they have great pitching, and Garrett Cole is still on the injury list. If Garrett Cole can come back and pitch well,
yeah, he
then
can come
they're
back
going to
in
be
the
the real
second
deal.
half
The thing is that
and be one of the aces if there isn't one already.
Yeah,
and that could be amazing, and that'd be a great feeling.
And
didn't he win the Cy Young last year? He did win the Cy Young. He did do that, right?
I think he did. But the thing is if the Yankees,
that just shows you how much of an ace he is when he's healthy. That he won the top pitching prize that they get, the Cy Young. It goes to one person only. True, there are people that line up and go, well, you're the 4 finalists. This person won. 3 finalists that didn't win. But then it's honorable mention, even if you're one of the people that was a finalist for the prize and you lost, you're still in the top aces, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he did
the
win
winner
the Cy Young.
is number 1, of course.
He did win the Cy Young last year. The big what if for the Yankees is whether Aaron Judge and Juan Soto can stay healthy. If they do, and
oh my God, it's going to be a force to reckon with on all levels. And who knows, they could be standing in a pile celebrating at the end of the year and holding that trophy. It could happen, and then wearing rings next year. But then another team could do it the year after that. There's no guarantees that it's going to be like the old days. Not even close. It's a new world. It is.
Well, the Yankees, I think they could. The Yankees haven't been to a World Series
and now we'll have the worldwide
since 2000.
To share this on X. They're actually, I have to find it first and then share it on mine.
The Yankees have not been to a World Series since 2009. It's their longest gap since it took them 15 years it's their longest gap since before the days of Babe Ruth, in which they haven't been to a World Series. Their previous, it's their longest. Kenny. It's their longest gap since 81 to 96. If they don't make the World Series this year, they'll have their longest drought of not winning a pennant since over a century ago, since before the days of Babe Ruth. But with the Yankees, as I said, if Cole can come back and pitch the way if Cole can come back and pitch well, the way we know he's capable of pitching, and if Judge and
I'll just find the person.
The Orioles, though, of course, a really good young team. The Orioles are really setting themselves up, Kenny, to be the new class of the American League. Just absolute talent on that team. Tampa Bay, they're not as good this year, but I'll tell you what, that organization is too analytically driven. That's what cost them in the playoffs last year. They don't, and you got to have, because analytics drive the show in baseball now, but you got to have some of that old school in baseball. And the teams that are very analytically heavy, like Tampa and LA, they're not going to go to a World Series in a normal 162 game season. Everyone talks about why the Dodgers. Oh my God, what is it about the Dodgers in October? It's because of It's because of analytics run everything, and there's no old school feel for the game, which is what you desperately need. Anyway, Toronto I thought would be better this year, but they haven't been good, and one of the things with the analytics people is they manage the games in the front office, and the managers are puppets. That's what Kevin Cash is in Tampa, and that appears to be what Snyder is in Toronto.
I mean, the Mets. I gotta say, the Mets shouldn't be doing bad because they have the biggest payroll in baseball.
Kenny, I'll get to that in a minute. Kenny, you're
robot.
I know for a fact that Cash is a puppet in Tampa. I'm not 100% sure about Snyder, but I'm getting a sense that Snyder, who's the manager for Toronto, is kind of a puppet. Boston will hang around there, but they're not that great. American League Central, as I said, it's been one of the historically weaker divisions since the 16.
New York Mets have the top payroll, They should be doing a lot better.
All right,
And yet they're so far behind. They're in fourth
Kenny.
place, and they're the top payroll. Really?
Kenny, we'll get to the West in a minute.
Well, that's the East.
We're talking about the American League Central right now.
I'm talking about
American
the Mets
League is
top, and they've the top
American.
payroll. They should be better. They should be way better than they are.
The American League Centrals is actually set to be a really powerful division next year. You got a good team in the Twins. You've got Guardians who have a really good young core, and give it to Cleveland. You know, they had a great run in the late 2010s, but they kept the farm system up to date.
Yeah. Royals
they have a new young core ready.
What about
City,
them Royals?
Kansas City is
like they're going to be.
Detroit has a good young core. But Kansas City, last year, the big theme last year was teams playing over their heads in the Cinderella team. We saw with Cincinnati, Texas, Arizona, and those teams. And Miami, of course. Miami's horrible this year, but the Royals are quite a story. They do have a good young core. I'm really rooting for them. I'm not convinced they're going to keep it up. I'm not convinced they're going to keep it up, but
you never know. Shit happens, and they just might.
I'm hoping they do. I mean, that's been a great story this year, and they lost 106 games last year.
But they are above the record by 10 games. That's not bad.
They're 10 games over 5, and they actually had a pretty impressive comeback.
You're in second place. You're holding your own, trying to catch up to the Guardians, but that's hard to do. You know, you're 5 games back, but the Guardians could fall off, and you catch up even harder. And then it's a tight race. Oh man, we don't know who's going to finish. And the Twins could also get hot and beat you all. Who the hell knows? Yeah, it's all possible in the second half of the season. It's totally.
Well, yeah, they lost 3 or 4 to the Yankees, and we're about to get swept in 4. They actually had a pretty impressive come from behind win at Kauffman Stadium on Thursday. Kind of funny thing about the Royals, this is actually kind of reminiscent of 2003. In 2002, the Royals, like they did last year, they lost 106 last year. In 2002, they lost 100. They went 62 and 100. And then in 2003, they got off to a tremendous start. They cooled down midseason, but ended up going 83 and 79 when all said and done. They were in the hunt until the final week of the season. But then in 2004, they lost 100 games again. So
not everything works out. Not everything's created equal.
Fast forward 21 years, 2023, they lose 106. 2024, here they are, 10 games over 500?
Right, but my friend, there's a great track by Sonic Youth called Winner's Blues. It's one of the rare occasions that you hear just Thurston Moore and his acoustic and just him. And it's so stripped down. And he goes, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's Winner's Blues. You're winning, yet then it doesn't work out and you're not. That is Winner's Blues. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. And you never hear them at the start of an album or any time where they're so stripped down. You're so taken back. You're like, wow, this is unprecedented. It really wasn't. This starts an album with a hit on it. Get out here. It really did. And they are noise band. They're the band that loves feedback and being noisy. And they're so stripped down. There's no noise. Get out of here. This never happens. That's why it's also a song I use when I'm blue because it's unprecedented. You will never hear Sonic Youth like that. Stripped down and just one person singing and only one person's playing, get out here. That never happens to them. You never hear them stripped down. It was just mind-blowing how I never heard them like that. Going stripped down like that. This is the band that loves feedback and noise. And achieving it in different ways. When in the first album, they would just have somebody hit like drumsticks on the guitar to make noise. Right. And that was even noisier than the guy with one guitar. Right. And you never hear that. I guess they wanted to give you something different and strip it way down.
The thing is with Kansas City is they do have Salvador Perez, their all-star catcher from their previous year, and possibly even at this point, you could be talking about a future Hall of Famer. And he was there, of course. I always talked about it's vital when a team kind of starts a run and has a young core ready to start a new run. It's vital to have someone there from their previous championship days, and the Royals have that in Salvador Perez. And that, to know what it's like for that organization to win and kind of teach the young guys what it's like to be a member of that organization. I'm hoping Kansas City can keep things going, but they're a
No
young team,
answer.
they're a very vulnerable team, and they could fizzle out. I think
check
Detroit.
for
I
the
thought Detroit would be
quieter
good this
guy,
year.
Roger.
I wouldn't rule them out. Of course, the White Sox are terrible. American League West, I think that is a weak division. The Rangers, here's the thing. The three teams that are really going to be the class of the American League the next 3 years are going to be the Orioles. There are going to be the next few years are going to be the Orioles, the Guardians.
Yeah.
The Guardians, the Orioles, the Guardians, the Mariners, and the Rangers. The Rangers have a very young core. Last year they played over their heads because of Bochy, and I don't think they're good. I never thought they were going to be as good this year, but here they are. We'll see. But the next few years they'll be really good. But the Mariners are definitely the cream of the crop.
I wanted to say hi to Snug the Cat
right now.
Well, Steven, I'm saying hi to.
You look at the National League East, the Mets. I'll tell you what's going on with the Mets. All right.
Hold on.
They went old school when they hired Buck Showalter 2 years ago. They won 101 games.
I want
last year, the Nerds in the.
All right, I'm gonna have to do that for one. Give me a minute. Snug the Cat is in the audience. Thank you for coming here. He's the guy that watches everyone. Just wanted to say hi to the biggest fan of the network. All right. I'll unmute you. You can keep on rolling. Just wanted to say hi to him because he's here. I went on Facebook chat. That's their major chat, the network's chat. Right.
All right. So the Mets, the Mets, they went all nerd ball. Well, the thing is, the Mets decided to go old school 2 years ago when they brought in Buck Showalter, a true old school baseball guy. And they won 101 games. But last year, the Nerds tried to micromanage everything. They finished under 500. Showalter left, and now the Nerds are ruining the show there. That's what's going on with the Mets.
Really, Steven, they should be better because they have the top payroll, biggest payroll in baseball. They should be way better than us.
They're another team that's way too analytically driven. The thing with analytics like just dominated from 18 to 21, and they do for the most part. But some teams over the last 2.5 years have started going back in an old school direction. Mets did that, and then for whatever reason, after 101 wins under Showalter in 2022, they just went back to analytics last year, and they finished under 500.
Why would they do that? I mean, Buck had the ability, if you gave him a second chance, like take his second year, they might be going on to greatness, but nope. Why did you hire him? Just for one-off? He got you 100 wins. Got in the playoffs. It didn't turn out the way it was supposed to, right? Then you just take another run at it. No. Why? You took the old school approach. Why didn't you just stay with it? Stupid, right?
It is, and that's the problem. And I'm not saying analytics should be here, but they should be a small part of the overall art of baseball. And sadly, they dominate now. Some teams are moving more in a 50-50 direction, which I'll accept.
He's on train, Nug. Steven's on train, so that's what he wants to wear when he's on train. So he's on the road. This is So he said he's available last night when I chatted with him to give him a heads up because I wanted to see if he was free, and he showed up. No one else has.
And I am right now on my way to cover a Giants game for Sports Radio Service. I'll be in the press box today.
Anyway, what he does, man. So he wants to be play-by-play guy, so he's out living the beginning of his dream. Yeah, that's right. He also might be an umpire. You always have to have a backup plan. What if you never become a play-by-play guy?
Other things in this industry, I actually might get to do I might get to announce some baseball games next year for Cal Baseball, UC Berkeley.
I'm just saying, what if you're an umpire sometimes for other baseball, like college and whatever, right?
College, I might want to do one summer as umpire, maybe a few years in an independent league.
Right, I'm saying that might pay one end of your bill, Steven, and then the play-by-play thing might pay the other. So sometimes you got multitask to do many things in the industry.
You do, and so
right. I love the fact that you went out and got your backup plan because you never know what's going to pay your paycheck.
And I've got the music.
Paycheck, and you don't know. And it's like, I got fired from the last umpire job. We just can't afford it anymore. Then independently even, and then you're stuck there. But I got more play-by-play gigs, and that pays more too, right? And you go with that. Just like I'm not going to worry about monetization for my own channel, One Brain TV. I'm going to try and get sponsors for this and that. And then it's like, okay, you gave me monetization, YouTube, on my regular channel, and you took it away because you do that for no reason, which makes no sense. The 3 sponsors didn't go away, so you took away my money. They're still paying. I make money. That's the point. All right, you're still voice, even if you're non-screen anymore. That's their thing. They set up that way. You're still here. I'm saying that's where it's at, man. You don't make money even with monetization because they take away for stupid reasons, knock people off. And what if you had sponsors? That's the way to go, man. That's the way to keep on making money. Oh, the partner problem's back. It goes in and out. I'm not going to rely on that. Get some sponsors. They'll never go away. They like what you're cooking. They will keep on buying it. I even have merch now. I've made shirts. Yeah. What is this? Huh. Low diff space uploading your recording. Steven, it's saying, unfortunately. Mine is going through fine, yours is not. But I don't know. It's not my channel. So if it doesn't go through all the way, then that's the way that is. It tells you when you're in the StreamYard. This has happened when I've been live on mine and some people didn't come through when they drop by. Are you here?
I am here.
So it's saying to me, your recording is not uploading very well, but it's not my channel. So if it doesn't come through that well in the replay, it's not my thing. So it's not like I really care that much. It's their network. I care because I'm doing the content, but I have no control whether things play well in replays and all that. No. Yeah, it says there's low storage space, low disk space. It's saying to me on the recording, so that's on their end in a way. It's their channel. I have nothing to do with it. I just show up, enter the code they give me because I have to correspond with them. Errol gives me the code, or another guy that works for the network does too. They run the account together. So if Errol is not available, like, oh man, one of my kids needs me, then the other guy does it.
But the Rangers are going to be good, and going back to the Rangers, but this year they're not going to be as good. Another team like that's the Arizona Diamondbacks. You knew with the way the Diamondbacks and the Rangers did last year, especially the Diamondbacks, they're not going to be as good this year, but they'll be good the next few years. We were going to talk about the National League East. The Phillies are just really good, but the thing is, there is a lot of arrogance to the Phillies. And I think one of the biggest reasons they lost last year is, the great Tony La Russa has always said, you got to respect your opponents. And the Phillies did not respect the Diamondbacks. The Phillies went into the NLCS last year treating it like a coronation.
After I leave, that is related to an intro that I was going to do a podcast with somebody, but sports related, and the guys that run the network are in it.
Anyway, the Phillies treated the NLCS last year like a coronation, and they didn't respect the upstart Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks beat them in 7 games. You can get beat, doesn't matter who you're playing. And they didn't respect Arizona, and this year they have that same arrogance, and it's the same. And this year they have, the best record in the National League, and it's the same reason I don't think they're going back to the World Series this year either. They're just too arrogant, and the Braves are not as good as expected. They've lost Acuna for the year, but guess what? They lost Acuna for the year in 2021, 3 years ago, and they won the World Series. So, and the thing that really burned the Braves last year was that they ran away with their divisions each of the last. Well, they didn't run away with it in 22, but they had the week off last year. They ran away with the division, then had the week off. This year, they're not going to have either. So, if they can, get hot at the right time in September, and they're playing in that wild card round. They'll.
I don't have a long outro. The intro was 3 minutes. I thought that's good for a sports and trash talk thing. But yeah.
And then the Marlins, they were in the playoffs last year, but this year one of the worst teams in all baseball because they're really analytically driven. It's weird that some teams, even though as a lot of the league is moving back in a direction.
I'm looking at the Marlins. The Marlins are dead last.
Yeah, but the Marlins and the Mets went back in the analytical direction for whatever reason, and it's
Like, I'm
biting
saying,
both
like,
of them in the
look at
ass.
their record.
Now the Nationals are
Steven, look at their record.
Yeah, I am looking at their record. The
Hold
Nationals.
on, let me talk. They're 23.
Dude,
and
you've been
47.
dominating. You're not letting me get a word in.
I'm sorry. They're
The Nationals. The Nationals are. I think they've got a really young core that is really starting to mature a little bit. They're not there yet, but they could be something, and I think could even make some noise in the second half. Central's really weak. Brewers are definitely the cream of the crop in that division. Don't rule out Chicago and
Phillies are 47 and 23, 671. Ooh, that is.
Don't rule out the Cubs and the Reds getting hot, but the National League, it's like the entire National League is going to be competing.
Actually,
for the second and third wild card spots.
That is just a little bit less as good as the Yankees. The Yankees are top in all baseball, even better percentage than the Phillies right now. Phillies are number 2 in all baseball.
Well, listen to this. I'm looking at the wild card. I'm looking at the wild card standings right now, and all but 2 teams in the National League are within 2 games of a playoff spot. The Mets are 32 and 37. They're 2 back of the second wild card. Now going to the West and going to my team, my Giants. The Giants.
How's the wild card mark? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong standings.
Giants are back in the wild card. They're not going to win the West. They're
how far back are they in the wild card?
1, but they're 8.5 back in the National League West. And
if the playoffs happen right now, they'd be in the playoffs. Maybe.
No, they wouldn't.
Okay.
But you should look if you can find.
But if they scraped and crawled, if the playoffs happen in a few weeks, and the team that they're 2.5 from or 2 from screwed up, they might get in the playoffs.
Well, there's a bunch of teams between the Giants and a playoff spot right now. So
that's true.
I told you the only 2 teams who are not in it right now in the National League are the Rockies and the Marlins.
All right, man. Well, in about 10 minutes, I'm gonna let you go in about 7 minutes and move on to other sports coverage right at the end. That's what I gotta do.
But anyway, with the Giants, they're in an interesting position. Their championship core aged out in the late 2010s, but they've kind of had a temporary core of guys like Mike Yastrzemski, Wilmer Flores, and those guys to Austin Slater to carry that burden. You have a great ace in Logan Webb. They've got the talent there. Bringing in Bob Melvin was the absolute right move. And I said at the start that they would get off to a slow start, but they'd pick it up midseason. I'm still confident they'll do that.
Why won't Errol have kids?
Who?
Of course he's talking about the boss of the network. He didn't know he had kids. And I'm like, why wouldn't he? All these guys have families. They're professional men. Yeah. I'm not talking about their families, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I that's something we mostly always know. I guess you don't pay attention. But move on, man. I'm just pointing something out to him.
Anyway, you look at the Giants, and I think they'll be in it. They lost their big, prize that they signed in the offseason. Jung-Hoo Lee dislocated his shoulder back on May 12th, trying to go for a play at the wall in the right center field wall against the Reds at Oracle Park.
Yes.
So that was a tough blow, but the Giants were able to bounce back from that. They've got resiliency. They've actually really quietly developed a good young core. Guys like Luis Matos, who came up in the middle of May and had an historic week, had 16 RBIs that week. But then after he got into a slump, the Giants set him down. The Giants were very analytically driven the last few years, and then they went.
I know you hate special days, but no matter what the record was, if I was a San Francisco Giants fan, I would still go Metallica night. I mean, come on, man. It's Metallica night. They're going to be there. It's going to rock.
They've had Metallica night. Kenny, you got to let me talk, dude. You've been doing this the whole show.
All right.
The thing is that the Giants, they've developed a young core, but what sucks is that Luis Matos, he started going to a slump. And what does Farhan Zaidi, the president of baseball, have to do? He sends him down. It's like, no, he's got to work on a slump here at the big leagues, and now he's tearing up AAA. They got to call him back up. Elliot Ramos has been a tremendous story. Ramos has been And kind of similar thing happened to him a couple of years ago. He was one of the top prospects for the Giants and throughout baseball, but he really has fallen on hard times. And he came in and he had a really good spring training in 2022. He didn't make the team, but then they did call him up on the second day of the season at a 2-hit game against the Marlins on Saturday, April 9th of 2022. But then he had a couple of hitless games, and then they back down, and he was abysmal in AAA that year and was abysmal last year. But this year, he's been absolutely incredible, and it's been an incredible story, sitting over 300. And he's just a really talented young guy, and I think could be a big staple in this organization for years to come. Marco Luciano, who's our biggest prospect, good hitter, but he's a shortstop, and his fielding's absolutely abysmal. I talk about how it's vital to have guys from your old run there. It's why it'd be nice to have Brandon Crawford there, because Crawford, he'd be Crawford's heir apparent at shortstop, and Crawford could kind of help him with his defensive woes. But the Giants are also going to get healthier. Alex Cobb and Robbie Ray are coming off the IL soon. The Giants do have a really good pitching. The one thing I'll really hand far on is turning Jordan Hicks from a reliever into a starter. That's really paid off dividends for him. But the Giants, I think in the second half, they do need to make an addition or two at the deadline. But I think, they've got good pitching. They actually have a really good bullpen. Their closer, Camilo Duvall, is really one of the best closers in baseball. He's had a rough stretch the last few weeks. I mean, you saw it yourself when the Yankees came back to beat him 2 weeks ago in the ninth inning on June 2nd.
Well, some people, they can't always stay great. They have career woes, and, it's just what happens, man.
But the Giants have a great 8th and 9th inning duo of the submariner Tyler Rogers in the 8th, and then the flamethrower Camilo Duvall in the 9th. The offense, the offense has the potential, but it's just they haven't really been able to get things going all year. They waste a lot of opportunities, and especially when they get home run happy. So they got really hot at the end of May, and they were doing things the right way offensively. They were having situational hitting and getting guys on over and in. But, then they fell into that slump when they lost Lamont Wade, and that was a big blow. Hopefully he'll be coming back soon. But then they got hot about a week ago, but they were doing it with home runs. And I thought to myself, this is not going to last long, because the fact that they're home run happy, it's going to get them into trouble. And it's happened. The Giants they're wasting a lot of opportunities offensively. And
I guess they have forgotten about the fundamentals of baseball.
Well, a lot of teams have. Since 2018, It's just been home runs or bust. Over the last couple of years, as I said, as some teams move back in an old school direction.
All right, Steven, say your final thoughts, because I'm going to do the final broadcast.
All right, always a pleasure, Kenny. Hope to see you soon, buddy.
All right, man. Thank you for being here. You're the best. All right, man. Thank you to the baseball expert, Steven, for coming on by. Sorry about it. All right, I'm going to pull up Bleacher Report now. I'm going to stop that screen. And I'm going to briefly carry on talking about hockey playoffs are heating up, the NBA playoffs. Briefly go over it a little bit, and we'll get the football news. And then I'll have a little bit of an outro. I was going to do a podcast about talking trash and talking about sports. All sports, and especially stuff like MMA and boxing. That's what the potential co-host was more into, but never happened. I'll play it at the end. And Errol and Speedy Petey happened to be the intro, because I called in and my friend clipped it. So they made it. I figured he's got the clip. And I think they would allow it to be used. And it got clipped anyways. All right. Oh, I'll pull up Bleacher Report right now. All right. Right, because we got 10 minutes. Hopefully 10-10 wins. Give me 10 minutes. I'll bring you to World of Sports. Yeah, that's right. All right. Not yet on that. Bleacher Report. Yeah, that's what you need. Where do you get your sports news? Bleacher Report. All right. Let's look here. Oh, shit. statewide sweep in versus Panthers. All right, Edmonton Oilers. You know, as a youngin', I was a big fan of them Oilers because they had the Gretzky, the Messier, the McSorley. Yeah, a few others. Yeah, I can't think of right now, but doesn't freaking matter. And they were a force to be reckoned with in that time period called the 80s. In fact, Mr. the Great One left, and they've still carried on because one man is not a whole team. They avoid the sweep. All right. So that means then it's 3-1. Right. So maybe you're going to make it series. Right. And the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll have a 7th game. And oh man, then I'll watch it because I love the 7th game. And that is exciting. So I hope the Oilers keep on winning. Right. And yeah, I hope they win and make it 3-3. Yeah, whether they win the whole thing or not, Panthers get the best of them. When it's do or die, that's fine. That's when I'll watch. And that's going to be mind-blowing stuff. So go Oilers. I hope they keep on winning and they win 2 more. Yeah, go Oilers on that so I get to watch. All right, moving on to the NBA. It seems like they're now in game 4. Mavs, right, versus whoever they're playing. All right. That seems awesome. I hope people are enjoying it. I don't know much about it. All right. Move on to that bit to football. I'll cover around the NFL. Where is stuff on that? Not seeing anything yet. Here we go. Is that college? Oh, yeah, college. Oh, here we go. NFL's worst defenses. Ooh. Hold on, Cowboys officially. Offensive big losers. So let's see what that's all about. Ooh. Trevor Lawrence contract seals it. Cowboys are biggest losers of 2024 NFL offseason. Oh, shit. The COO shit. That's every time something big happens. Oh, shit. I can just hear him. I'm with apologies saying, oh, shit. Or somebody playing a drop. They're the biggest losers. The team that hasn't been to the 3rd round, the conference final, in close to 3 decades. The team that always makes it and then bumped right out. And they didn't just lose last year's playoffs. They got bumped off by something that's never happened in the history of the playoffs since they embarked on having a 7th seed, that they make it to round 2. It happened. Yeah. First time since they made the 7th seed in 2020 during the pandemic that team was able to skip to the 2nd round. Of course they ran right the hell over. That was Green Bay, first 7th seed ever. Technically, they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs probably, yet they squeezed right in. All right, wow, NFL teams shouldn't exactly focus on winning the off season. It's never smart to actively lose it. Fortunately for their fans, the Dallas Cowboys have mishandled virtually every step of the 2024 offseason. Thursday's extension for Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence served as a stamp on Dallas failing report card, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Oh, yeah, the expert. I love that guy. He's great. Lawrence has agreed to a 5-year extension worth $275 million. Holy cow! That is lit. That puts Lawrence on par with Joe Burrow. Oh, shit. Nice. In terms of annual contract value and presence, a massive problem for the Cowboys. We had already given Dallas a failing grade for their offseason before the Lawrence deal. Yeah, it's getting worse. Now the Cowboys missteps somehow look even worse. Yeah, you haven't made the third round in like 3 decades because your owner is frozen and lost the fever of being hot and winning. Yeah. Now you're failing in the off season. You suck so hard, you don't even have a great off season. Your off season sucks. This is how bad you suck. You historically suck because you haven't made the third round, and now your off season is terrible. Yeah. Good luck because you really suck. You don't just suck, you really suck, Cowboys. Historically suck. Boo you. You suck. Yeah. That's going to cost them in both the short and the long term. Hold on, the Cowboys failed to get NRA extension for Dak Prescott. Oh, yeah. And that's going to cost them both the short and the long. You can't even lock down your freaking quarterback. Oh, you suck. That's the person you have to lock down. Yeah, and you suck. Here you'll find a look at exactly how the Cowboys mismanaged Prescott's situation, the likely repercussion, and what's next for what has become arguably the league's most mediocre franchise. Oh! And they say, they're America's team of mediocrity. Oh, yeah, they're America's team. You can now say of mediocrity. You suck so hard. Yeah, so hard. Historically hard. Yeah, technically, you were America's team. And now the Patriots are America's team. Yeah. Uh-huh. Let's continue for a little bit. Dallas 2024 failure can mostly be tracked back to its inability to extend Prescott at the start of the offseason. Yeah. Forget about getting new players and all that. You should lock down your quarterback, you dumb freaking idiots. We'll dive further into that shortly. But none of that changes the reality of the Cowboys could have moved quickly to get a deal done. Yeah, Prescott even told reporters in mid-April that he didn't necessarily want to be the league's highest paid quarterback. Right. You don't have to pay him all the money. Just give him a good rate. Yeah. At the time, that might have meant a deal similar to those of Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Who are set to earn $51 million, $52 million, $52.5 million annually, respectively. Yeah, you don't have to pay the man all the money. Just give him what he deserves. He is a really good quarterback. That was before Jared Goff signed a deal worth $53 million annually, blurring the financial lines between above-average quarterback and elite ones. Damn you, Goff. Why do you have to sign for all that money? You screwed up. Damn. Whether Prescott is truly an elite quarterback or not, all right, he's up there. He can expect to be paid like one. Lawrence's deal pretty much seals the reality because the 24-year-old had far less league leverage than Prescott does and still got paid top of the market value. We'd like to see more leaves fall franchise owner Jerry Jones said in April, per Patrick Walker of the team's official website. It's hard to know exactly what Jones was waiting to see, but waiting has only driven up his quarterback price point. Oh! Loss. The Wetbush with Prescott. Jacksonville should have been far more interested in waiting to see more from its quarterback than Dallas has. Lawrence was a Pro Bowler in 2022. Yeah, elite stuff. But that campaign was sandwiched between two underwhelming seasons. Prescott is a three-time Pro Bowler, respectively, who's helped deliver 5 playoff berths, correct, and lead the league in passing touchdowns last season. Also, Lawrence had 2 years remaining on his rookie deal, while Prescott is scheduled to be free agent in 2025. Keeping him via the franchise tag isn't an option for Dallas because Prescott's contract includes a no tag and no trade clause. Oh, yeah. So Dallas' only real leverage play was to try convincing Prescott that he wouldn't get the deal he's looking for on the open market and agree to terms that benefited the Cowboys. But yet they didn't do that. Yeah, because they suck. Good luck with that now. In addition to Goff and Lawrence both getting their paydays, Kirk Cousins got a deal worth $45 million annually on the open market. Yeah, Cousins is still pretty damn good despite being 35 years old and coming off a Tom Achilles. Well, Cousins still might have 2 or 3 years left that are good as long as he stays healthy. And, he was pretty damn great. Right. That's why he got paid that kind of money. Prescott is 5 years younger and is coming off the best statistical season of his career. True. So he probably should get at least $5 more million than Cousins. Right. Because he's younger and better statistically. Oh, yeah. Team-friendly deal simply isn't going to happen with Lawrence getting $55 million and only $200 million guaranteed. These deals, these guys are getting paid so much freaking money. It's ridiculous. Prescott can now demand Goff's deal. Yeah, he totally can. $170 million guaranteed for 4 years and act as if he's doing Dallas a favor with a straight face. Or he can simply call his $55.5 million in 2024 earnings and roll the dice in free agency. Totally can with both Tua Tagovailoa. I can't pronounce his name. Tuatagavoailoa. All right, and Jordan Love still waiting extension, and Brock Purdy extension eligible next offseason. The market will only continue going up. Yeah. All right. Oh, Prescott isn't the only player waiting for an extension for the Cowboys. Star receiver CeeDee Lamb is entering the final year of his rookie deal, while pass rusher I can't pronounce it, Parsons. So Mr. Parsons became extension eligible this offseason. However, it was always important for Dallas to extend its quarterback first. Parsons has 2 more years on his contract, and Lamb can be given the franchise tag in 2025. Of course, neither player will be cheaper to sign in the future than now. The Cowboys have already watched Amon Ra, St. Brown, A.J. Brown, and Justin Jefferson take turns resetting the receiver market this offseason. Jefferson now leads all NFL receivers and all non-quarterbacks with a contract worth $35 million per year. Wow, that's a lot of free money. That's now the bar for receivers like Lamb and Jamar Chase. Parsons isn't in a rush to sign his second contract, but also knows that waiting could result in a deal worth more than Jefferson. You wait, you get a hell of a lot more money. This market is going to just jump up, and the cap goes up again next year. Oh, yeah, Parsons said, per Clarence E. Hill Jr. of the Fort Worth Star Telegram. They're talking about these contracts might, for a high caliber player, might be up to $40 million by then. Oh, shit. Even if the Cowboys can work out an agreement with Prescott, paying him Lamb and Parsons a combined $120 to $130 million annually isn't exactly feasible. Right, you get your quarterback straight, then these guys that top players that receive him all that or whatever, right? You got to pay them what they deserve too. And oh yeah, it's out of your budget because of the cap. Unfortunately, jumping the market with either Lamb or Parsons might not sit well with Prescott as he waits for his turn at the table. Right, and those are people he needs as weapons. Right. And then he goes, you're not paying my guys right, but you took care of them before you took care of me? Oh, screw you. Right. And then, yeah, that's the way that goes. Dallas baffling reluctance to get core players under contract sits in stark contrast. Sorry I'm doing this and it's going overtime. Right, but it's a long article, and why not? It's a top football thing. Contrast to what the Philadelphia Eagles have done. Philly locked up Hurts when it first got the chance, and extended players like Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jordan Mailata this offseason. You see, they went in early, rode up, got their quarterback locked, essential players that they need to win it all, or maybe get the playoffs and then try and win it all. They locked it down because they know they want to go to the promised land potentially. Smart. And these people are going what they need to get to their goal that they want. And Cowboys didn't even do that. The Eagles' core is in place for the feasible future of Dallas could split as easily as next offseason. Yeah, that's why you're dumb. That's why you're dumb. You should have locked them down, man. True. That's a calling card statement from a real piece of crap. But and it's a true statement for this sentence. It doesn't matter who said it. That's why you're dumb, Dallas. You should have locked down your quarterback then early, then lock down the weapons you need to execute the rest of your goal. But you didn't do any of that. And you were keeping your quarterback waiting. And then everybody else too. That's why you suck. You should have done it right the first time in April, lock down that quarterback, and get deals for the weapons you need to. Yeah, but you didn't do any of that. the other weapons, I mean. This makes 2024 perhaps the Cowboys' last real shot at pushing for Super Bowl before a major overhaul ensures. Yeah, but they never make the third round. So their mistakes are way catching up with them. If they could even make the first round, yeah, they will. And then next team will run them the hell over. It already happens all the time. You can predict it. You can make a Las Vegas bet that they're going to get taken out of the first or second round, and you will win mad money. According to the make or break nature of the coming season, and that head coach, Mike McCarthy, is on the hot seat. Jones may insist that McCarthy isn't playing for his job, but McCarthy isn't under contract beyond this season. If Cowboys moves early in the playoffs in embarrassing fashion, as they did in January, and they do every year since he went cold, Jones will almost certainly look to make a change. That is, of course, assuming that Jones actually wants to win a Super Bowl and isn't happy with his team being relevant or irrelevant. I like the fact that he's hanging around the rim. I like what the team has done to hang around the rim, Jones said in January, per Michael Galkin of the Dallas Morning News. How much longer is this? All right. This kind of goes on and on. That's one way to put it. Dallas has won. It's just one more long thing after this. 36 games over the past 3 seasons does remain interesting. Yet it hasn't advanced past the divisional round since 1995. Yeah, because he's cold. And the only thing that's going to get them uncold and make them hot again is his death, and the sun might have some hot luck. Yeah, once you're cold, you're frozen forever. He sucks, and he hasn't gotten the fever, and he's not going to get it anytime soon. If the Cowboys don't make their run this season, they could be trying to make it with a new head coach and without several top players in 2025. And we all know that's never happening either. Let's circle back to Dallas' inability to extend Prescott early in the offseason. Yeah, the Cowboys have just $10.2 million cap. Oh, yeah, you mismanaged everything. Should have had more cap room space after Michael Gallup's post June 1st cut hit the books. Yeah, you should have locked down people and not make stupid mistakes like that. The or Theoretically, Theoretically. I can't read that. They could save quite a bit more by extending Prescott now. They should have done that in April. According to ESPN's Todd Archer, a simple restructuring of Prescott's contract could save roughly $18 million. So why don't they do that? Dallas could generate that space by restructuring Prescott's deal as part of an extension. That would be smart. Then they might be able to lock down one of the other players that's waiting too, like that Lamb guy. But are they going to do that? I don't know. That might give the team enough space to negotiate with Lamb and or Parsons. Right, that's what I'm saying. For Prescott would have to play along. Right, but let's say you restructure his deal. He would play along. Not that much more, but a little bit. What the Cowboys cannot do is go back to the start of the offseason and generate cap space ahead of free agency. They lost key contributors like Tyron Smith, Tyler Desi. All right. I can't pronounce that. All right. Tony Pollard. Dorrance Armstrong. Dante Fowler Jr. and Jonathan Hankins. That's a lot of people. Dallas signed Eric Kendricks, Issa Kelly, Ezekiel Elliott, and Royce Freeman in free agency, and that's it. Yeah, that's pretty good, but they lost a lot of people. And you didn't even lock down your freaking quarterback or a couple of essential players that you really need. You're failing hard, so hard. This is so mediocre. You suck so hard. Oh, I'm so glad I'm not a Dallas fan. The Cowboys will now depend heavily on rookie offensive lineman Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. Yeah, who will both be asked to play new positions in the NFL. Yeah! The alternatives along the offensive line aren't great. Yeah, they're now down to your worst players. Good job, Dallas. Now you really suck. So hard. Include moving Taylor Smith to left tackle and creating a hole at guard. Dallas is eyeing several other problem areas. Yeah, now you have to reposition players that have never played that position. You see how bad you freaking suck? Oh, it's painful how bad you suck. You've sunk to a new level. It's like you suck so hard on your helmets is a pile of dog shit because you stink and suck and smelly hard. Yep, put dog shit on each helmet because you really suck. Elliot Freeman and Rico DeVoldo or Dal, right, don't exactly form a high upside backfield. The Cowboys still lack reliable receiver depth behind Lamb, and Kendrick alone won't instantly fix a run defense that ranked 16th in the league last season. So they weren't even in the top 10. Oh! Had the Cowboys extended Prescott early, possibly extending Lamb and Parsons subsequently, they might have been players in free agency. That window's closed. There's no denying the fact that Dallas roster is markedly worse than it was a year ago. That's not ideal in a make or break season. I've been so locked in. Let's see if anybody's saying anything. No. Brendan Jacobs has to call him back. Yeah, we don't control him. All right. All right, just two more things left. Meanwhile, teams like Philadelphia, the Green Bay Packers, and the Detroit Lions were able to improve for both free agency and the draft. All of this means that the Cowboys could be headed for disappointment in 2024 and a rebuild in 2025 and beyond. That's the simple reality for a franchise that stumbled with Prescott's situation and has failed virtually every step of the way since. Oh, all right, that's it, man. Sorry that went a little overtime, but things like that happen. All right, I'm going to close out the show and play an intro. This intro to a podcast I was going to do once, but the podcast didn't work out. It's sports related. So let's do it. All right. Press. All right, so I'm saying goodbye. Thank you for enduring that. And I'm going to end with the intro. That should be on.
It's time for the show. We don't say much, but you'll never know what you might see, what you might hear. Peter called me once a night to remind him he's a
I use that.
Hello, douche.
Adam, who's calling right now? Hold on, I'm gonna put you both on. Who the heck is this? Hold on. Kenny, what's going on?
What's happening, man?
Who is this? Who are we speaking to?
You're speaking to me, Kenny.
Oh,
Kenny,
God.
the star of the show on Thursday.
There he is. Kenny, what's going on, man? We got
What's
a guest
happening,
coming
man?
on.
We have a guest literally that's going to come
You
on
want
in
to
a minute,
call? You
so
want to call
back.
after?
Okay, yeah.
Call
I'll
back
listen
at
to
about
your interview.
10:30, Kenny.
Okay, call back in 1 hour, you're saying?
Yes,
Fine
about
with
an
me.
hour.
I'll still be up.
Oh, look at that, Kenny. Just don't drink and don't smoke. Okay?
Okay, it was.
Oh my God, what was that?
Jesus, I don't know, man.